My name is Chris Lefebvre, like VP at Tapdaq, and put together this little panel that I'm pretty excited about. Just ask questions throughout. Throw your hand up anytime. We'll run a mic over to you, and we can just keep it casually connected amongst us all. If that makes sense. So yeah, first up, I want to welcome. Oh, is this the right direction? There we go. So first up, we got Mark Müller. Big round of applause for Mark Müller, please. Next up, I want to welcome Tomislav. I'm just going to stick to first names. Yeah, that'll work. All right, big round of applause for Tomislav, please. Welcome, welcome. Next up, we got Gleb Platonov, head of Game Dev Division for Roommate Studios. Welcome, Gleb. Welcome. And last but certainly not least, we've got Chris O'Kelly, head of publishing of Huuuge Games. Welcome, welcome. What was the first video game you ever played?
I think Zack McCracken.
Oh, nice.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Did you beat it?
I beat it, yeah.
Did you have to cheat? Did you have to?
No, I didn't have to cheat.
Amazing.
It was either Manic Mansion or Zack McCracken. One of the two.
Yeah, I was a huge LucasArts fan.
Loved it.
I met Tim Schafer at GDC 2017 and totally had a fanboy meltdown.
My God, I would be like.
Yeah, it was a lot. Cool. So this is our. There we go. That's our dais. This is us. So, quick question for you guys. Have a little look at that picture. What do you think is wrong with that picture? Any guesses from the audience?
We're missing you on the slide?
No. It's all white dudes. I tried to find a not white person and a not dude. I didn't find one. So, let's work on that later. But that's not the topic of the panel. The topic of the panel is bringing a game to market and what that takes. And I thought we would start chronologically with ideas. So I'm going to start with you, Mark, since you're way over there. What is a good idea? What defines an idea as good?
If it gets an audience, that's how we define a good idea.
Yeah?
As simple as that. We usually don't differentiate between good and bad ideas. We usually test out whatever idea somebody has, and if there's an audience for it, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Is your mic on? Is your mic on? Check. It is.
Yeah? Right on. Tomislav, what's a bad idea?
I don't really know how to respond to that. I mean, I don't think there are like bad ideas. There are always like ideas, and then you test it out on the people that should work on it, and then you test it out on the audience, and then if it like gets good reception, then it's a good idea. But it's still, I don't think it's a bad idea if the people don't like it. It's just an idea that everybody likes, and that's it.
Yeah. Gleb, you're mostly working as an outsourcer.
Yeah, like vendor, yeah, co-developer.
What's it like working on other people's ideas?
Sorry?
What's it like working with other people's ideas?
Oh, usually they don't have one. I'm joking. No, usually they come up with like a very high level one.
Yeah.
And now we're basically work to, to do something with that, understand whether they're like audience, do like marketing research, and come up. Yeah, your idea is really nice, but we need to do this and that. It might have a greater potential. So it's more like
interesting.
Working with your ideas and try to evolve them a lot.
So are you trying to help people make their ideas more technically sound or more business sound?
Actually, both.
Yeah.
To business, how to execute it, what to do and stuff.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, we need a game, multiplayer one about the water and on Switch, what you can do. Anyway, okay.
What's the most bloated idea somebody brought to you?
Usually the trickiest stuff that, okay, we want like FPS game, Fortnite style, but in 2 months. And we say like, no.
2 months. Chris, question for you. I mean, you guys are deep into social casino. You've launched this new hyper-casual publishing division. So you've seen a lot of what's out there. Are you seeing any new ideas? I mean, it seems like especially in mobile, there's a lot of saturation in the marketplace. Is there anything fresh?
That's a very good question. I don't really think so, because frankly speaking, I've been playing my games myself for a long time, Flash games on Newgrounds and on Congregate, and I keep seeing the same ideas that have been 10 years old just being ported to mobile. So I don't think there's anything really revolutionary new, to be quite honest.
Anybody disagree with that? Anybody think there's something that can be done?
Actually, in the hyper-casual market, I'm talking about the hyper-casual market,
Okay.
right? So, you know, I don't know, Flappy Bird, Tappy Stack, you name it.
Skip Lakes.
Bumper.io, right?
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
I don't think there is currently very new ideas, but I think once AR, VR will go up, then we actually will see, due to new devices, actually new ideas, new genres. But right now it's more iterations on old ideas.
Does there anybody have a story about an idea that kind of took them by surprise in terms of like, you know, they saw it, they thought it was totally going to tank, and then the market and the data responded positively? That you're allowed to share?
But I have a case, but not in hyper casual. It was time when I was working in Gameloft and was game director. So we have a crazy idea just to repaint our items in the game into gold color, and that's it. You know, we spent like a week, and we increased revenues like 30%. Just added this shiny shader on the items.
Wow, that's a week well spent.
Yeah.
What do you guys do to brainstorm ideas in your offices? Tom, we'll start with you.
We gather around. There's like a big place in our office where people gather around, and then we exchange ideas and you know, throw them in the air, and then people discuss about them and see, you know, if it makes sense, if it doesn't make sense, and then if the production team like says, okay, you know, this is something that we feel is doable and we would like to do it, then we start like doing a prototype on it.
Okay, well let's move on to production. Oh no, teams. So kind of what I wanted to explore here is, I mean, yeah, you have an idea, but how do you assemble a team? Anybody here hiring? Are you guys hiring? A little
Yes.
bit? Yeah? A lot. So, you know, obviously outside of like talent and personality and stuff, I mean, how do you go about hiring? Are you looking strictly within your own countries? Are you looking beyond?
We're looking all over.
Yeah.
In our country, of course, and then we're looking also to bring some external talent to Croatia to like bring us some experience that we don't have within Croatia, because in Croatia, mobile gaming is not, I mean, we're the biggest studio and we're pretty good, but like we're not having a lot of studios there that are doing mobile gaming. So this experience that exists is what we have acquired, let's say. And we would like to bring external talent from abroad, and then to bring us this additional experience from working on other projects in other companies, other cultures.
And are you, so you're expecting everyone to move to Croatia, or are you working with remote teams?
We are okay with some positions to also be remotely, of course.
Interesting. Mark, how does Graham Games divide up? I mean, you guys are a pretty big company now, clocking like what, 120 people, something like that?
75 to 80 changes.
Okay. And how do you organize that many bodies?
It's actually, there is not much organization going on. It's all team-based. So there is no top player management who actually organize it day to day. It's mostly like actually people organizing themselves in teams. That's how they handle most of their stuff. It's like my job. There is the Supercell kind of stuff. It's not as laid back as that, but it's like my job is literally just checking up at the end of the week how the team's doing, are they needing something.
Gleb, how do you guys break it out?
I mean, you want like a general answer, right?
Well, I mean, because like you guys have like the two divisions of your company, so
Yeah.
right away there's a pretty big split. Is there communication between those two sides?
So basically, we're working more like, as we are working as a co-development partner for a lot of stuff, when we can just supply like, you know, a certain people, like remote for different companies, or creating a project from scratch, we had to be like very flexible in terms of our structure. And it's more about like building the teams inside the company for different clients and vendors and stuff, because we need to have like a team that will be doing like art, dev, QA, whatever, and run for like a year or year and a half. And we basically have a structure of leads and project managers, where like leads responsible for like a certain teams, because they can be like directly work just level design, work with network, that's it. Or like project manager working with everyone and try to align it. So it's more about like, you know, like clearly creating like teams inside the company, making sure that they're motivated, that they understand the client, everything works well, and so on and so on. So it's closer actually to like consulting business or audit companies. They structure like that, you know, and it shows really nice results because the team is really motivated and they can like do a lot of crazy stuff. So,
Chris, what was it like building out a hyper-casual division team-wise? Were you drawing from the same talent that you had on the social casino side, or did you bring in new people for that?
So I have to admit that in the Berlin studio, we're not really fully connected with the whole casino stuff. So in Berlin, we're building more of a, hyper casual, more casual games, and we try to separate those things very clearly. So we have 8 studios worldwide right now. So 5 in Poland, 1 in Hong Kong, 1 in Tel Aviv, and 1 in Berlin. And the Berlin studio is sort of, more on the design side of things. So because that's why it's interesting what you say. So it's also very much team-based, project-based, and most of the development is still done out of Poland, but the design side is in Berlin, actually.
Very cool. Mark, what's the first thing somebody sees when they walk into Graham Games' office? This is a question for everybody.
If you walk into our Istanbul office, the first thing you're gonna see is the bar.
All right.
Our first floor is reserved for kitchen, food, and drinking.
Tom, what's the first thing you see when you walk into Nanobit's offices?
We have like a wall of all our awards that we won throughout the years.
Nice. Gleb?
So as we need to keep like a certain level of security because we're stuff, you will see just a wall with a screen saying like roommate studio. Then you have to move to another like room. There will be this reception with closed doors and stuff. So it's a tricky one. And then only office. So.
Yeah. Chris?
Well, so we just had a graffiti done. So it's basically a big Berlin graffiti kind of thing, and then a statue that I bought. Don't judge. It's a weird red statue that does kind of this kind of thing.
Is it dabbing?
And it looks like you're entering like a church or something.
Oh.
It does actually, but
Church of Games. I love it.
don't judge. I like it. I bought it.
That's great.
Let's
judge.
leave it there. Yeah.
That's amazing. Last couple of questions around sort of teams and things like that. Obviously, like there's been a lot of change from the old days of like crunch and stuff. How are you guys managing that work-life balance in your office? Chris, we'll start with you.
Work-life balance. So yeah, it's quite a good call. So we do try to do at least like once a month, twice a month team events with the whole team, and we just went trampoline jumping last week actually.
Nice.
And then we try to do like something fancy, more or less. Pretty much every month. A boat trip, trampoline. What else do we have? Laser tag. Yeah,
Sweet.
It's quite important. And also to keep the team connected. So we're about 25 people now, but you kind of want them to be connected, and so we keep on doing that. We do team lunch every week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's quite important.
Gleb, what are you guys doing to balance work-life? If anything.
As usually there's like activities every month because people have to rest and you basically need to control it. We try to, from one side we try to engage people and motivate them so they do the decisions. And when they feel like a part of the team and the one who is doing decision, it's easy to lead them because they do a decision whether to overtime or not to overtime or leave earlier or like stay at work, and the whole team is really motivated and stuff. And it's a tricky one because sometimes people get over-motivated, so they burn down. So the managers need to go and watch and say, oh, it's 10 p.m., get out of the office, get out of the office, we don't need it.
What are the managers still doing there at 10 p.m.?
And then struggles like that, no, we won't go, no, you should go,
Yeah.
So it's tricky.
Tomislav, what are you guys doing to keep work-life balance?
We have casual Wednesdays, so like every last Wednesday of the month, people can work from home and then they still need to work, but they can work from home, and that's like completely fine, and people really like that. We're trying to introduce Smash Your Head Friday drinking. HR is here, so I'm not allowed to say a lot of details on that, but we're also not keen on overtime, and as soon as people hit like 10-hour mark, we're already like starting to question what is the problem, what is the issue, why are you having overtime, are you not having enough time to do your stuff, and maybe you should hire more people to cover your work. And so we're really trying to help people to have that life-work balance, because we really believe in that. I mean, the owners really believe in that. So when people are more rested and relaxed and can enjoy their life, they'll be more happy to come to work and work the next day.
Yep. Your turn, Mark.
For us, we don't have company-wide working hours. We don't have limited holidays. So if somebody actually wants to take off a month, they can take a month off. we don't have company-wide working hours. The team decides when it wants to start working and when they want to stop. For some special cases, like the guy said, if there is somebody working like for a very long time, a lot of overtime, we also send them on vacation. We send our UA manager away for a month, paid by the company, for example.
Awesome. What keeps teams motivated on projects? I mean, I don't think everyone always gets to work on games they love necessarily. I mean, obviously everyone loves your games, and your teams love your games. Goes without a question. But I'm sure you've had to work on games at some point in your life that you weren't necessarily super fond of. How do you keep your teams motivated around projects that aren't necessarily their go-to games?
Yeah, no idea.
Everybody taking notes? No idea.
We are providing teams right now for the Istanbul office, we used to have every Friday, we would stop production and they would work on their own projects. They could do whatever they want. Right now we're doing every 2 months, 1 week, because they can do bigger projects, try out new tech. That's kind of working into keeping them motivated, but at the end, if somebody doesn't work on a type of game, you can't motivate him from outside. Then you have to rely on that he needs the money.
Mm-hmm. Money is a powerful motivator.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't say that. So we have a thing called Game Jam twice a year, where people for 2 days work on whatever they like. We set a team, and then people can make a game, and you can really see that they like show a lot of creativity and pour a lot into it, and then people really make in 2 days like incredible stuff. That really helps with motivation, and yeah, basically I would say that it's up to a producer or a team lead to really motivate its team. You know, even if you're not really now working on a game you'd like, I mean, it's not going to be forever. Next project might be something that you really, really like or interested in, and then it should be like, okay, I'm gonna like do it for this project, and then the next would be like something that I would like to win. I will work even weekends on it. So I feel it's like you have to constantly work on it.
Is there anything that ever came out of those game jams that you guys have shipped?
No, nothing as of yet.
Gleb, what do you guys do to stay motivated, especially working with other people's projects, a little bit more distant?
At a certain point, you can motivate people with money or with position or with like fancy stuff. So what we are trying to do and what we are doing is basically give the people like possibility to take responsibility and to engage, and making sure that what we are doing, they're part of it. Because if they feel that they are not part of it and they're doing like from 10 to 7 and just for money, you won't get a good product. So usually when we see that people are not engaged, we try to like another people until we see that the team is really taking responsibility on the project. And this moment you feel yourself like more like a cook or a janitor, you know, like no, don't go there, don't go there. Okay, you're cool, continue, and more like cleaning up for them, and support them, and be more like a role of a big helper, and a consultant, more like a guy who is like leading them, motivating and stuff. Because when you like create a team like that, you don't need to motivate them; they motivate themselves, and that's what we try to achieve working with the partners. If we achieved, we're super cool. So if not, yeah, we need to, order and stuff, and usually it's not work well. So we're constantly trying to build this motivation, let's call it, like stuff.
Chris, what are you guys doing?
So we have those little, fridges all around the office. We have a small gym that I'm building right now, which is just a few things. But in general, I think it's just about not micromanaging your team too much, but giving them a lot of liberty in what they do. Be clear with your briefing, and then let them just go and stop being pecky about everything all the time. Just let them their creative freedom for a while, and then usually beautiful things develop over time.
Cool. Let's move right on. So we got a good idea for a game. We got our team assembled. It's time to move on to production. We have to actually build the thing. So I want to hear because I'm in the process of soft launching my own game, and I learned a lot about how hard that actually is, which is kind of an eye opener. I mean, working in the vendor space, like, oh no, it's fine. Just do it. Just put the SDK in there. No, it's not that simple. It's a lot of work. So, what kind of sprint schedules are you guys running on? What kind of tools are you using to communicate and to track, progress and deliverables and things like that? We'll start with you, Chris.
So, so since I'm in charge of third-party publishing, so we use team internally. Don't quote me on that. I'm probably going to be chastised with it, but we use Trello within my team, just for small tasks. We use Jira a lot, and we communicate on Slack almost entirely. So we have Slack channels for everything. Probably way too many, but Slack kind of works nicely.
What Slack bots are you using?
None, actually. You know, just reminders of, you know, hey, you haven't been in this chat for a while.
Not
That's the
even
only
Giphy?
thing- No, not really. No.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
So we a little bit rely and depend on like our partners, what they want to use. I mean, like if Chris will come to us, say use like Redmind or whatever, we had to use it. Yeah, but generally it's like Jira, Slack for sure, Skype for like external stuff, because to have a call, because still like Skype is really nice in terms of video, despite the fact that we don't like it at all. And Google Docs. Usually you can arrange everything in Google Docs, and this is the fastest way to jump in any projects. When you just log in from any computer and just log into your mail, that's it. You set up. And yeah, so it's pretty easy. But I mean, it really depends on the teams. Because you can deliver a project just with whiteboard. You don't need Jira and other stuff. So, but it will be a little bit micromanage stuff.
Yeah. Tomislav, what are you guys using?
We use also Jira and Slack a lot, and of course face-to-face meetings. And maybe we use like we have Outlook, Office 365, and then we use like Word Online or Excel Online to like cover some of the data that we don't put in Jira. Yeah, and I think that would be it. In Slack, we use a lot of bots.
Yep. What bots are you using? What's your favorite?
We have our own bot that was programmed by our people. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. What's his name? Did you name it?
Hubert?
Hubert?
Yeah.
That's cute.
Pretty much the same. It's like one thing we did do, since we have the two offices and they sometimes work together, we set up like televisions with cams, which actually shows into the office. So people can walk into the room and actually activate the microphone on the television and talk to our London office or to our Istanbul office. But otherwise, we're doing, I believe, pretty standard stuff, Jira, Slack, Confluence. I don't think it's going to change much from any company.
What was the shortest amount of time it took to get a game done and launchable?
So just jumping at this, so since we started our hyper-casual initiative, Tapdaq Games, by the way, if any developers are interested, just hit me up. I think, so we developed part of those in-house, and I think, at some stage, we're pushing out 2 a week, if it's a very simple idea.
Wow.
Well, for hyper-casual titles, right? I'm not talking about big live ops or big tools, big IAPs, just a very simple idea. Up to 2 a week, probably.
Wow.
Goes pretty quickly.
What's the longest? Anybody got a really long one that just ground them down? Not so much? Oh, that's fine. What order do things need to be done in? This is something I actually struggled with. Should art come last, first? Like, what's the sort of order of production that you guys follow?
For us, depending what we're looking for. If we're looking for testing out the core mechanic, we're looking for retention, for example. And then that stuff, considering retention, will be done first. If you're going for monetization, the KPIs affected by certain mechanics will be developed first.
I don't know, it depends. If we want to just test out the game, how it is, and how the playable, let's say, would be, then we don't really need art. We can just put something from previous games. But if we want to really have the game and the look and feel of it, then of course art needs to come first.
Yeah.
I do believe it's pretty much the same.
Yep.
It's really dependent on the genre, obviously, and your technical issues. If you need like super scalable, let's say like backend for MMORPG, you have to start probably with understanding whether you can do this solution or not. So it will be more technical part. If you're doing like a hyper casual game, you have to start with the mechanics. So it should be like super fast. Maybe one developer just crunching all the time and come up in a week with something like playable that you can test with gray boxes. If it be like graphic novel, you should start with art, of course. And maybe story, to engage and understand whether it's good or not. So.
Yep.
But in general, usually we start with like partially art direction and some R&Ding stuff, like check the mechanics and check whether the graphics fits it in general direction. If it's a good start, well, let's continue. If not, continue investigating it. So that's it.
Very cool.
Yeah, just to add to that, so, I don't know if you guys know what an RFP is. If you would sell it to somebody else outside, you would create like a whole concept document, and we would do that internally as well. And yeah, usually one of the first steps is also create like a mood board. So who's your audience? Who are you trying to target? So art is one of the first things you would definitely do. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I totally did it wrong on my game.
Actually, the first thing is it should be a pitch for yourself, even like internal product. What's your audience? How you want to tackle it? What will the pipeline? What are challenges? Stuff. No matter what you do, you have to say, this is our goal. That's how we go. This is our ideas.
Awesome. Awesome. That's really helpful. Let's move on to launch. So, did I break that slide? No, it's fine. Yeah, so I'm in soft launch right now, so I think it'd be helpful for people here to know a little bit about when is the best time to go into certain phases of launch, like closed beta, open beta, soft launch, and stuff like that. Maybe you can speak to that since you are moving quite a bit faster. Are you spending any time in closed beta on your hyper-casual games?
Closed beta, not so much, but we have clear goals for KPIs, for hyper-casual more so than for the others, mainly focusing on retention numbers. And, if it hits numbers that are close to our goal, we would, reiterate a little bit. But usually, if it hits the numbers, then we would go develop the features we wanted to go and just follow the normal roadmap planning. Actually,
are you guys using Google's open beta program at all?
Yes, actually, we are. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, but mostly, to be honest, for more stuff like ASO,
Right.
testing how to position it in the market, and it's more important for UA at the end of the day than
Right.
for the game itself. Yeah.
Right. Tom, how are you guys treating your launch phase? I mean, it's obviously a little bit different when you have an established brand and more story-driven. Are you doing soft launch on new stories within the app itself?
For the stories, we do A/B testing. So we launch them for only a part of the audience, and then we tested how it compares to other stories that are performing well or not performing well. And then if it's falling into performing well part, then we release it to the general audience, to old audience. And if it's not, then we remove it, and then we continue adding new stories, and then again testing it.
What are some of the key metrics you look at when I mean, obviously there's always things like retention and stuff like that, but is there anything is session time more important when it comes to stories?
We look into how many people finish the chapters, and how many people finish first chapter, second chapter, third chapter.
Right.
And of course we look into how many, because we have these choices in the stories, and you have a premium choice, which for you need the currency in it, or you need there's a free choice always. And then we take a look into how people are spending on the premium choices. If they're spending, it means it's a good choice and it's a good story. If they're not spending, then of course we need to change something.
I'm just really curious with the genre in general, but is it fairly comparable in terms of what the industry reports for IAP conversion rates? Do you sort of see comparable percentages on those decisions, or is it like a narrative-driven game, that much better or that much harder?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
Well, so typical IAP conversion rate would be 2% or something like that in the industry. Do you tend to see that sort of same adoption of the premium choices ballpark, or is it?
It's a little bit higher than that, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Mark, what are you guys doing for soft launch in terms of key markets and what you're looking at?
We usually try to launch as soon as possible. For our ad titles, it's 1 to 2 days until we go in certain countries out, and then they're just starting acquiring user. For the bigger titles, the inner purchase titles, I think Merge Kingdom, which was soft launch last year, we spent a week on before we actually put it to the market. Very skeleton, no sound, very made up art. So yeah, it's trying to get out as soon as possible to get direct player feedback and get data.
And where are the best places to soft launch, and why?
It's a very good question. We changed quite a lot over the last couple of years. We started out with pretty standard Canada, Australia, New Zealand. I think right now we switched more towards Europe, testing out also in the Nordics. Gives equal numbers, which gives us a direction. For the ad titles, we used to use Brazil a lot and Indonesia because you can get a lot of traffic for cheap, which comes with its own problems because the retention data will be lower and also the player behavior is different. So If you do in-app purchase, I would recommend to actually go with tier 1 countries, even for soft launch. I would invest the money into Canada, into Australia, into, let's say, Finland, to get some decent numbers. For ad titles, you can also go with smaller countries, Netherlands, Denmark.
When it comes to soft launching, do you have a platform preference? Do you typically start with Android or do you typically start with iOS? I'll ask you, Chris.
Actually, not that much, but we tend to go on Google first because we have a very good relationship with them and very good experience overall. And for some reason, as opposed to, normally you say you have so many devices, different operating systems and devices, but we still tend to go to Google a bit first and then iOS after all. The whole reasoning behind it, I'm not entirely sure. But it worked well for us because I think overall, as I mentioned, Google is harder to cover, all devices, all minimum specs, so it's a bit more work. But once that's done, iOS is more like, easier.
Just because so many developers seem to rely on featuring as like their main source of traffic. Obviously, that you guys are out there like buying users and running proper businesses, but it's not the case for everyone. Any tips, any advice for people trying to secure that feature? Tom, we'll start with you.
No, not really. I mean, like working with Apple is a little bit tricky, at least for us. Google is much more open to discussing about featuring, and I mean, we have a good relationship with them as well, and in this sense, we can like talk with them openly about the game, and they will provide us with feedback and tell us how the game looks like, and are they really considering it, and if yes, why yes, and if no, why not, and give us some tips on maybe some even changes in the game. But regarding Apple, it's like we're trying to assemble the best pitch we can and ship it, and then like constantly just bother them to provide us with feedback. And well, from time to time they actually say something, and from time to time they say nothing, and that's how it is with Apple.
Mark?
I think the most important part for both platforms, Google or iOS, is to get in contact with them pretty early and keep them in the loop about your production schedule, about the state of the game. I think that's one of the things we learned. We get more featuring the sooner we include them. Even if we're starting a new game, just get directly their feedback. Even the game releases in like 6 months or a year, getting the feedback early on and implementing some of that stuff will help you getting featured.
Gleb, what have you seen? I mean, naturally you're working with different partners, but...
Yeah, so, I mean, we work a lot with platforms, with different ones, because we're licensed for all the consoles in Apple or Google, and usually we are in one who usually reach them and asking, like, and helping with submission and other processes. So, in our experience, they're very, very, like, data-driven guys. So they want to see, like, forecasts, how we will approach it, what will be our, like, live ops, like schedule, what we will do, what KPIs we will target and stuff. And usually we do it on the start as well. So we come up with a plan and we go reach them and saying, hey, this is the KPIs we want to target, that's what we want to do, that's how big we want to grow. And it really depends on what like support they can provide for you and whether they're interesting or not. So you can understand it, as guys said, like pretty early, like even on prototype stage saying, they might say, oh, it's not interesting to the market at all. I mean, like at least they're not saying it directly, but you can understand in a way that you might not get featuring and stuff. And we see like the featuring is not very influential right now as it was like 4 years ago, because it's really nice and let's say cheap organic source of traffic to test the game, but you cannot rely on it to be a hit or stuff. So
cool.
It's difficult.
So we're gonna do something a little weird here. Who here in the audience has seen Jimmy Kimmel's mean tweets? Is that everybody? Okay. So, I mean, everyone's shipped a game. Everyone here has shipped a game. And obviously it kind of stings when somebody leaves a mean review, but most of them are just idiotic. So I'm going to have these guys read some mean reviews from their games. They haven't seen them. And don't worry, they're not, it'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Okay? So don't worry about it. So I'm going to pass this over to you. Mark, we're going to start with you. And don't fix their English. Just read it exactly as it's written. It's critical.
There was way too many ads. Every minute I would get 1 or 2 ads, and every now and then I would get an ad that doesn't even do anything, so I have to restart the game. I actually I actually retarded. Yeah, sure, why not? I agree with the ad part. Can't say if he's retarded.
Especially the end.
1 star. I thought it was funny how this guy has 15 thumbs up on that review. It's a weird indication of helpfulness. All right, pass that over to Tom, and then Tom, you can just scroll downwards on it. It's just touchscreen. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, thank you. Hello,
It's important.
Nanobit. I have played this game before with Nanobit. I the same 772. I want that. My mobile hanged. So I need to back up it, so I deleted. I need my previous progress. I was a diva. I was near to become a star. But it is coming new by. I didn't got the option to start from previous. Hello. Give me my back progress, or I'll suggest my friends to not play this game. Hello, please improve your system. It is getting hang again and again, so please make sure that it should not happen next time. I have reached level 7, but still Nick is not introducing me karaoke bar. And friend has been introduced, so please get me introduced karaoke bar by Nikki. Please, Katie is giving me task to meet her at PR agency when I'm going there. It is telling not available, so how I will meet her, so please improve it. I have dated with Dan with full 100 with ring sign, but it has stopped. It is not getting ahead. I'm using my refill by Love Song. It is full, but not ahead, so do something.
Oh my God, thank you.
I have updated the app, but my Manhattan house is not opening. Hello, you can see my upper review. It is proof. I have played this game before in this device. Only my Nanobit ID was the same 772. You can check it, my mobile backup. So it's starting from newbie. I was a diva. I have unlocked all places. I want to continue from my progress. I don't want to start again. Or else I'll not play game and will give suggestions to not play this game to my friends. Awesome.
Good hustle. Good hustle. Pass it off to Gleb.
I hate it. I like the name of the dude, Sagjit Singh.
All right.
It's exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I hope it's nice. Okay, wait. I paid to remove ads. It said payment failed. My score is 7,908. I got bored. The ads are for porn sites like Pornhub and X videos and sex toys. Yeah, nothing more to add to that. I'm not sure what he was playing, to be honest. I would be no. I'm not really entirely sure. It must be one of our hyper casuals, but I'm not aware that we do advertise on Pornhub. Yeah.
Awesome.
I feel sorry for his experience. A Google user, by the way.
A Google user. Just
Google
one.
user. Yes,
Just one Google user. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for that and for joining my panel and for making great games. Thank you so much. Give these guys a round of applause.